Hello everyone, welcome back. So, as we said last week, today I will be working on the physics. So I've imported the physics package and we'll start by doing the ground check. But before we start, I want to give you a quick update on some of the stuff I did this weekend. I need to remove this for the debug that I was doing. This. So I've been working on fixing or finding a solution to the camera problem, and I can now use Cinemachine orbital camera to control the character and orient the camera the way I want. So that should allow me to do some cutscenes and stuff like that later in the game by using the virtual camera. So if I'm not pressing right click, I'm moving relative to the world, and as soon as I'm pressing right click, so if I go forward and press right click, I'm now following where I'm looking at. And this is also working with look ahead. For instance, if I do a bit of look ahead, I can now move the player and have the look ahead done without messing up, let's say, the orientation. Don't keep the changes. Hello Vadim, how are you? And another thing is the jump. I did some fixes on the jump. So if I take my prefab and I now have my jump maximum height, minimum height. So let's do 2. And I can control also the symmetry and it's working properly. So if I have 0.5, it will be the simple, let me enable gizmos. It will be the simple arch by default, and I can do like starting, a jump that is more faster on the ascent and slower on the descent, and same thing the other way around. As you can see, it's faster on the descent and slower on the ascent. I also have been working on having the, so let me start again, variable jump height. So normally if I keep pressing the spacebar, and apparently it's broken, I should have reached 4. So if I put 4 back, yes, it's reaching 4. And normally if I put like 2 and just slightly press the jump bar, it should only jump at a reduced height, but I seem to have broken it, so let's keep it at 4, and I will fix that for next time. One thing that is not working very well, and I'm not sure how to solve that, is that if I have like a high ping and I try to do the jump with faster descent and jump, there is this weird bounce back on the client side, not on the server side. So the blue one is the server side and the green one is the client side, and I don't understand why the client is doing this kind of path, and it's only happening with high ping and if I have jump symmetry that is done for the faster descent, because if I do it the other way around, try to jump, it's not. But no, okay. There is another issue at the top of the jump. Okay, so there is still this to fix with the latency, let's say, or the lag. Even if I'm exaggerating quite a bit the lag here. Hopefully you don't have such a bad connection when you're playing and you have something like, yeah, 32 ping is already quite high, I think, if you are playing on a local server or something like that. So I think that's pretty much it. I also tried while solving this to use the custom serialization. So instead of using the synchronization of the local transform, I am now synchronizing my own Verlet component or Verlet component. So I'm synchronizing all three main attributes: position, velocity, and acceleration. And I'm not synchronizing the position from the local transform. So let's dive into it. Let's start with the physics. So physics, not physics. It's not the game object physics. So let's add physics. It's no longer the custom component, so it's not the rigid body. Let's go directly into physics. And let's use sphere. Let's do a sphere for now. It's not gonna be a trigger, and I think that if I don't do a rigid body, if I don't have at least one rigid body in the scene, the physics simulation will not work, because it will consider that there is no moving object. So all the recast and stuff like that won't work correctly. So I probably need also a rigid body. This one will be kinematic, not use gravity, because I'm doing the gravity myself with the jump. Mass, it's kinematic, so it doesn't matter. Collision, override layer. Let's go with that and see what we get as an entity. It's not in. Okay, so I need to start because it's a prefab. Okay, so I'm still moving correctly, and if I look at my server entity, what do we have? So we have the physics collider, which is a sphere, so that's good. We have two new components, gravity factor and physics mass, and we have the physics velocity, which we actually don't use, just like the dots character controller is not using it. But that's a requirement to have at least one with a physics velocity for the physics world to build what they call dynamic bodies, so that you can actually have a world to query against. So now that we have this, we can go into our system. Player movement system. And in this one, we will need to have the physics singleton. System API, get singleton, physics simulation, physics world simulation singleton. Rider will tell me that I need to have the require for update, so let's add it. Physics world. Okay, and we can pass this physics world here into our verlet method. Verlet method. In, and is missing the import. Okay, and now that we have that, we should be able to handle the collision response here with the physics. So let's give it a try. Physics collision world dot no, it's not that. It's actually I need the collider itself from my component, so I'm missing here the ref RO of the physics collider, and I will get the collider. What's happening here? What am I doing? Query. Tac. What did I do? Physics collider. Okay, better. Collider. Okay. And I can give that collider in here. And later, I think what I want to do is to be able to have different colliders because the collider stores also the physics layer. And for instance, if I want to be able to do a dodge roll or a dash or something like that, maybe I want to be able to first have a different shaped collider. Here I'm using a sphere, but I will probably use a capsule later on. And if I don't know, crouching, maybe I want to use the sphere instead, or a smaller capsule. So having the ability to switch the collider at runtime, I think will give me some opportunities or some benefits to do some additional gameplay. Physics collider, and here I don't remember. I think I can do no. There was no collider cast. Yes, there is a cast collider. I don't remember the difference between the cast of the collider and the physics world cast. Physics world dot physics world cast collider cast input. Can do a capsule cast that gives the points directly. I think I will try to go from the collider itself. Collider value dot value cast capsule cast collider. Collider cast input. I want to cast myself, in fact. Can I not do that? I need a collider cast input. Collider cast input, and I give a blob asset reference of a collider. Okay, so this one. So that makes sense. And now I need the start and the end. So I will start from my previous position until my new position, because if I'm updated, I've updated my position to be below the ground, let's say. I want to be able to decollide or to change the position. Cast input. Okay. So now I have my cast input. Either the closest hit or all hits. So let's do a closest hit, because the reasoning is that if I cast my collider in the direction I want to go, resolve the first hit and reorient my velocity to either slide or whatever, that should give me a good resolution. So I should slide, I should evaluate if the hit that I'm having is a supporting hit or a wall or something like that, to reorient the velocity. So I want a closest hit collector. Closest hit collector. And what was the type? It's not. So cast a collider and the closest hit. Okay, so just a collider hit, it's not a collector. Sorry. Hit. And does it give a boolean? Yes. So if there was a collision, I'm going to check if the hit dot normal, surface normal. So what's the angle between that normal and the gravity direction? So I need the gravity direction. Actually, let's compute it first. No, it's not here. Gravity direction already computed, so that's fine. Mass dot. Is there something like angle or something like that? Angle between two quaternions, that's not what I want. So let's do a dot between the gravity direction and the surface normal. Okay, and if that is actually let's do the simple case. I just want to know there is a hit and what is the fraction. So that will be the distance I've moved I should move back in the velocity direction. Direction and length. So that's not a bad idea for the velocity. That's the velocity direction, and that is the velocity magnitude. So I need to move back 1 minus that fraction. So my new position will be my new position minus this one times the opposite of the direction I was going. So that should move me back just before the hit. Then I can project I can reduce my magnitude by that fraction times the fraction. That will give me the remaining velocity that I need to apply. And now I can take that new velocity magnitude, so I can multiply that, and this is my velocity remaining. And that I need to project it project this one on the surface normal. And now that I have this one, I can subtract it from itself. And this should give me the new reoriented velocity basically that I need to apply. And I can update that position with the velocity time step. Let's try that and see what happens. I need to actually remove this part. Let's consider that it's grounded. It's a simplification, but the current vertical velocity, actually I need to compute that after, and theoretically this vertical velocity should be 0 if I have hit the ground. Remove this, and I'm grounded, else I'm not grounded. I should reset the jump count. Okay, let's try that. There are errors here. You don't like to take in the collider because I'm giving you directly the ref or O. So this one, physics collider, so that's better. Let's check the scene first. Let's remove those cubes. I got the spawner. I can remove this one. And my plane does have a collider. Hopefully, the character should collide with the ground upon entering, and nothing is happening. Why am I so fast? What's happening? Player input 10. Okay. Let's do symmetry, maximum speed. Okay. Okay. I'll actually remove my disable my debugs. These were to debug the issue with the jump on when it's lagging. So I will disable them to avoid having all those logs. Okay, and this one I will just keep the drawing, the gizmo drawing. Okay. My player. So everything is 0. Nothing is happening on the vertical axis. Did I remove also the gravity? So commotion utils. No, I did not. I removed that, but that will not stop it from applying gravity. Gravity management, if grounded equal 0. Let's do hit. Did I hit something? already? Is it eating itself? Because that's something that is possible. Yes, and I think I am eating myself. What's my capsule like, or my sphere like? Okay, simple basic sphere, layer. Not a trigger. I think that if I enable use gravity, maybe it will fall, but no, because I'm simulating the gravity myself, so that doesn't help. What are my physics layers? And what layer are you included in? Let's create a player layer. And in preferences, no, see, no, not in preferences. Okay, project settings, physics settings, layer collision matrix. Okay, the player should not collide with itself. Let's see if that helps. No, that doesn't help. I'm still eating something, so let's log actually which entity we are eating. Rigid body index. Where do I find the entity itself? Entity dot index and entity version. Let's see if we are really colliding with ourselves. Zero, zero, zero. Something tells me that's not the correct entity versions. So what? Okay, let's use the other method. So the physics world dot collider. Let's do a spherecast. Spherecast origin, radius, direction, distance. So the origin will be my. Why am I doing velocity here? It should be position already. Maybe that will help. No, I'm still eating something that doesn't exist. So don't know what's happening with this. Let's do from the world. Spherecast. Spherecast. Let's just start with a raycast. Cast ray from. And actually, I don't need a collider in that case for the player. Let's start without a collider on the player. So raycast input. Raycast input. What do we want? We want a start. Start will be the Verlet position. We want a end. Actually, let's do our new position minus the gravity direction times 0.1 f, and the end will be the new position plus gravity direction times, let's say, 0.5 filter, collision filter defaults. So we collide with everything. This is my raycast input, and I put it here, and I want the closest hit, raycast hit, okay, place it with that. Possibly impure structure method called in read-only variable. Struct values always copied before invocation. Okay. But yeah, the physics word, it's okay. So if I have my it, I have all the same information, so that's good. And let's see what that gives me. Just trying to fall on the ground for now. I should maybe remove the collider from my prefab. Yeah, probably because now I'm eating myself. For sure. So prefabs, this prefab, let's remove but I think I will have the issue I talked about, that there is no. Why is it not falling? I'm not eating anything anymore, which is good. So I'm not here. So I'm not grounded. And if I'm not grounded in the gravity, I should apply the gravity acceleration for the next frame. And now the new acceleration comes back here. I've got my velocity, I'm updating my position. Why? Why is nothing happening? I'm not even moving anymore. Nothing gets updated. There is no error in the system, but I don't have a physics word. So I'm not actually updating. So, okay. Now that's my issue. Like I said, there is no dynamic entities. So let's add a sphere. Okay, physics collider. Let's add a rigid body to it. And that rigid body will be by default like that. That's okay. Where is it? Right here. Default physical one contain one dynamic objects which are not ghost, not supported. So you need to be a ghost also. Ghost. But if you are a ghost, I think you need to be a prefab. We'll see. Okay, so you need to be a prefab. Okay. Interpolated, no, nothing particular. Okay, let's give it another try. And I'm still not moving. Player movement system. There is a physics world. I didn't remove the requirement to have a collider on the movement system because I removed the collider, so I can't get that. And if I have no collider, I don't need this line actually because I'm not using it. I'm just using the recast. So, will we finally fall just like the ball? Yes, we are falling. We are reaching the ground. We are moving way too fast when we are grounded, so I need to change something on the way I handle the collision, because right now I'm reorienting or reprojecting the remainder of the velocity when in fact I should be zeroing out the vertical velocity. So I actually need that to happen first. Yes. And I need to do what I was doing here, so set the current velocity to 0. I still need to move back, so this one should be good. And I can move back with a little margin. Minus 0.01 f times the direction of that velocity, or rather the gravity direction, because I'm actually using the gravity itself and I don't need to extract these anymore. So this should move me just slightly above the ground, kill the vertical velocity, mark me as grounded, and resetting the jump count. And I'm falling through. Let's do that in slow motion. Too fast. On the player itself. I'm moving faster than, so the server is updating faster than the length of the recast. So I do need to cast for the vertical velocity. That should give me the distance. Plus new position. So I need to debug this one to make sure that I'm actually doing the cast that I'm expecting to do. New line. Between the recast input dot start and the recast input dot end, let's color it in red. Actually, let's make a capsule. New shape dot capsule, because it doesn't have a thickness for the ray, so I just want to use that, and I think it's position and radius, so let's do 0.01 f, colored in red for one frame. Actually it's gonna be for more than one frame, I think, but it will be for every resimulation. That's hard to debug in the prediction loop, because the prediction will redraw the debug every time. If someone knows a way to just draw the debug once, that would be great on the first prediction, let's say. Okay, so I already have my recast apparently. have my bug of not being able to step. And no, it's too fast. Okay. Can I remove that gizmo? Okay. And I don't see anything. So the recast is larger than the velocity. Okay. Is my player starting above the ground? Yes. Let's make it start way above the ground. 5. That's not good. I'm not actually recasting below the player. So... And I seem to be casting in the wrong direction. So if I get my position, the gravity direction is downwards. So if I multiply by 0.1, I get a small percent, 10% of the direction, and move up. That should be good. And this one, the velocity is going downwards. That's okay. And this one should increase it. So that should be okay. So now I just need to add because I'm in the middle of the recast is starting in the middle. The position is centered on the capsule, but that should not prevent me from seeing the ground. I would just be halfway in the ground. So as long as this is correct. Mm-hmm. It's my fraction. I move back, no, I move back the amount 1 minus the fraction. So yes, I should move back a little more. Let's try that. So this is the kind of struggle I go through when preparing for another video. So hopefully this will be useful to make a more comprehensible video once I figured all of the stuff out. Let's actually disable the player game object renderer. Try and see something, and these are bothering me. Okay. Okay, so I've got my capsule. Why am I not starting at the spawner location? What's my prefab? Prefab position is 0. So my issue seems to be that I'm starting at 0. So the issue would be immediately in my netcode parts go in game. When I go in game, I spawn the entity in this system, I believe. No. Instantiate the prefab, set the player. Okay. So I should set the component on the player. New or directly copy the local transform of the spawner, but do I have that? Player spawner singleton entity. Let's get the entity itself. Spawner entity. And now let's get system API get component local to world of that spawner entity. Spawn point. And I can now set the spawn point. That should give me the ability to control where the player is spawning with the spawner itself. Because what was happening is that the player was spawning in 000 and directly already be below the ground. I could have moved the ground also, probably. Actually, the plane is already moved. So I need to move these gizmos out of the way. Okay. Start. Okay, so now why is it still starting at 0? And my plane is way below anyway, so let's continue. Why am I already so far in the ground? Am I not moving in the correct direction? There is an issue. Minus my so I think there is one too many minus. Okay, so that was my first issue. There was one too many minus. So now to avoid it from having this kind of jitter, let's say, I should probably move it back exactly at the hit position. That's not a really good idea for the horizontal velocity, but take care of that later. And I'm casting a little bit above myself and below. Let's see if we still have bouncing around. With that. Yes, we do. So you are grounded. Actually, let's look at the grounded state. Is it always marked as grounded? Yes, it keeps grounded on the server at least. And on the client, it's not set. It should be the same. I think it's set back to 0 because of the prediction rollback every frame, so that's what's reported in the inspector. But here I'm not even applying a velocity or an acceleration. I'm grounded and yet it's still bouncing because I am applying an acceleration and a velocity on the client. So if I also synchronize the grounded state, would that work? In my components, Verlet components, because I'm not actually synchronizing the ground state. So if I were to do it, does that solve my prediction dilemma? And I keep having an issue in my debug system. No, that doesn't solve my issue. But now the grounded state is not even set to 1, while on the server entity it is grounded. There is something peculiar happening here with the synchronization, because I am synchronizing the field and it's running the same code on both the server and the client, and yet one is reporting grounded and the other is not. So How can we debug that? Can we log only for the client? We should be able to log only for the client by getting the client from the state. Unmanaged world.isClient. Is client. Okay, let's give that to the Berle method. At the end, bool is client. Hello. Tu viens voir ton fils? Donc I got the client and now I can check if this is the client. Can do a debug log and check the entity or the it. Let's log the it position and see what the client gives us. And it's not logging any hits. So the client considers that there is no hit and is basically set back by the server. So what I understand here is that the entity on the server is detecting the ground, so it's not moving. But on the client, I am not seeing the ground, so I'm trying to move down and then I'm set back to the position of the server. Something like that. So why is it not working on the client side? Is the system order different? On the server, the player movement is after the physics, and on the client, player movement is also after the physics, so that should not be it. Let's add back the capsule mesh renderer. The player is not, the client is not seeing the ground, apparently. What happens to the sphere? Sphere is correct. What am I doing wrong? There is no other component involved. And the client is not detecting the ground. Position, velocity, that's synchronized, direction is constant. I'm stuck. I'm stuck with this physics that is not seen on the client side. There are strange behaviors on the client side. Between that and the jump, I'm kind of frustrated. This was not supposed to be so hard. I probably should have started with a non-networked player controller. And why did I disable burst? No, it's enabled, so why do I have such low FPS? Why is there okay, 800 milliseconds. Okay. That doesn't solve my player issue. Let's try to move the player to the hit position. That should be okay. I'm lost, guys. I really don't understand why the same code on the same PC, in fact, but on two server, one client, are not behaving the same. Let's actually draw only if I'm on the client. And see, I should be drawing the same thing. Plane. I want to zoom. I do am crossing the ground. I don't know why it's not viewing the plane on the... Trying to jump on the ball itself. I don't get it. I'm on the server, everything is fine. I'm on the client, and on the client I don't see it. Is there a physics word on the client? All equal physics. There is no physics on the client. Physics world. Yes, there is. And if I set the ball to be I can't change it. Winner predicted. Doesn't help me. Okay. I think this will be a short stream today because I don't have the energy to look into that. I just don't understand why this is not seeing the ground on the client side. There is nothing that I can think of right now. The physics singleton is there. The recast is done but doesn't hit anything. The layers are not impacted because I'm colliding with everything from the recast, and it's the same layers that are used in both server and client. So yeah, I'm stuck on that, and that's the thing that I wanted to continue on with, because the jumping, there are some other stuff to do on the jumping, but it requires to have some timings, like using coyote time and jump buffer. So I would need to understand and to investigate how the network ticks are working to implement that in a proper way. So sorry guys, I think I will leave it at that. There is not much activity also in the chat, so no questions it seems. So I think I will call it a night and start fresh another day on this physics topic. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next stream. Bye.